The holidays are here, and that means it's the most wonderful time of the year to save with Rakuten. Use Rakuten to stack cash back at your favorite stores on top of holiday sales. That's savings on savings. With Rakuten, you get cash back on gifts for everyone on your list. From toys for the kids, to kitchen gear for the person who loves to cook, to electronics for everyone. You can even save on something for yourself. Just shop the stores you love and cash back is automatically added to your account. And you can get paid with gift cards, PayPal, or check. Or eligible American Express card members can even choose to earn membership rewards points instead of cash back. It's truly a no-brainer. Join for free today and get a new member bonus after minimum qualifying purchases. Just go to Rakuten.com, download the app, or install the browser extension. That's RAKUTEN. Terms and conditions apply.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com, built by Renaissance.com. We'll talk to J.D. Pickell coming up in 15 minutes. Have not talked to him since Lane Kiffin officially took the LSU job, and I know that J.D. had some significant issues with the selection committee last night, so we'll talk some national college football storylines, including Penn State signing class and the choice of treats at the Virginia Tech press conference today, which was quite interesting. We'll talk about it with JD coming up in 15 minutes. I made up my mind yesterday afternoon that I was going to do this segment here at 2 o'clock today. I understand what the news of the day is in Baton Rouge. I understand what the news of the day is in the world of sports. Lane Kiffin, National Signing Day, Keith Carter, Blake Baker, Richard Anderson, Lamar Brown, like the whole deal. And we've talked a lot about that, and we're not done. I'm going to do another segment at 2:30 kind of recapping LSU's day so far. But LSU plays a basketball game tonight against Boston College in the SEC-ACC Challenge. And I'm going to talk about it because LSU's 7-0, and they're playing good basketball. Are they a lock to make the tournament? Nope. They a lock to finish over 500 in SEC play? Nope. Are they infallible? Nope. Have they played a good schedule? Nope. Not even close. But I think they're playing well. And I'm excited about that. I'm heartbroken yesterday that we got the news that Jalen Reed is going to be out for the season. Some of y'all might have missed that. Last year, torn ACL in the SEC-ACC Challenge in December against Florida State. Fights all the way back, goes through camp with a knee brace on, scoring 9 points a game through the first 7-8 games of the season. And then in the tournament in Florida, suffers an Achilles injury, and it's going to cost him the year. And it just makes me sick. Really does. But I told you yesterday, and I'll tell you again today, when he went down last year, Matt McMahon looked at his roster on the front court. He had Damian Collins at 6'9", 195, who just could not play on the block in the SEC. He had Robert Miller, a true freshman who was not ready to play in the SEC. He had Corey Chest, who was 6'6" and could get some rebounds, but was giving up 4 or 5, 6 inches to everybody he was playing night in, night out. They didn't have any front court depth to play off of. There wasn't. Jalen Reed was their front court, and we went out and they didn't have anything left. Well, you look at this team, and they would certainly like to have Jalen Reed, no doubt. He's 6'10", he's 240 pounds. He can put the ball on the floor. He can rebound. He's physical. He can help protect the rim. He's shot it decent in his career. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing shot I've ever seen, but he shot it decent. And he's a guy that's been at LSU for 4 years. Like, that means something, at least to me, as an alum and guy that supports the program. The guy never left. And it's heartbreaking that he's not there. But this team has got Mike Nwoku, who's 6'10", 260, and is as physical a presence as anybody in the SEC. He's probably not as skilled as every big in the SEC, although he's playing great from that perspective this year, and that remains to be seen when he gets into league action. But he's as big a body as you need in the league. You've also got Marquel Sutton, who's 6'9". He's well north of 200 pounds. He's a former conference player of the year. He's leading LSU in rebounds right now. He's knocked down some 12 threes. He's a versatile, athletic, big, old player. He can play. Robert Miller's not a freshman anymore. He's 6'10". He's still a little skinny, but he's got a year of SEC play under his belt. He's got a year and a half of SEC strength program under his belt. He can play in the front court. And then you've got some size at the 4/3 in Rashad King, who's a bigger frame. Max McKinnon is 6'6". So you've got guys who can go down there and display a physical presence. So look at the guys that LSU had on the floor last year. Outside of those front court players, I told you, Jai Bailey was 6'4" and skinny. Cam Carter was 6'3" and skinny. Obviously, you look at your point guard play, and you're not expecting size or strength there, but you were 5'10" and Sears at point guard. Like, you were just small. You're just undersized. They're not undersized. They're going to miss Jalen Reed, but they can bounce back from that. And tonight they'll go back and they'll play Boston College up in Boston. And you might look at that and go, oh, there's a Power 5 team. And it is. But if you keep in mind, they try to match up these games, okay? There's a reason that North Carolina's playing Kentucky, that Florida's playing Duke. There's a reason for those games. And LSU won 3 league games last year. So you're getting one of the worst teams in the ACC, and they are. Boston College is 4-4 this year. I'll just go through their record. They played in an exhibition against UConn and got smoked. They played Florida Atlantic, and you go, they were in the Final Four. Well, their coach is at Michigan, and he's dominating at Michigan. They don't have him anymore. That was a couple years ago. They lost that game in overtime to Florida Atlantic down in Boca. They played the Citadel and smashed the Citadel. Then they lost a home game to Central Connecticut. They played Temple and Philly, beat them by 5. Played Hampton at home, beat them only by 9. They only scored 63 points against Hampton. They played in the Shriners Charleston Classic. They played Davidson. They scored 49 points and lost by 10, 59-49 to Davidson. They played Tulane in that tournament in Charleston. Tulane not been great this year, and they lost that game in overtime. Shootout, 93-90. They beat Harvard, Battle of Boston teams, by 13, and here we are. So you're looking at a team that has lost to Tulane, that has lost to Davidson, that has lost to Central Connecticut, and has lost to Florida Atlantic. It's not good. So LSU is a 7.5-point favorite tonight on the road. And the sense is that they should handle themselves. I want to point out just one thing about this game when you're watching it tonight. If you're watching it tonight, it's a 6:15 our time tip-off. The best player for Boston College is their wing, Donald Hand. Hand is a physical guard. He's strong. He's older. He's listed at 6'5", 210. And you look at his statistics this year, he's already shot 50 free throws in 8 games. He hasn't shot them well, but he's gotten to the line a lot, and that's helped him lead them in scoring at 15.4 points per game. He also has shot it very poorly from the three-point line. He's 10 out of 60. That's 17%. Now, keep in mind, he was much better than that last year. He was above 35% last year. He's gotten off to a terrible start, but he's their best player, and he wants to go to the rim. My concern with this LSU team right now, as I'm looking at them, from the things that I can watch on the floor, they're obviously dominating everybody they play, which is great. They're playing bad teams. They're dominating them. But when I see an issue, oftentimes it's not on offense, where I think they've been very good. It's on defense, where they're allowing too many drivers to get by them to the rim, to either create rim shots, create fouls, or create help defense that allows easy rebounds on the weak side. And that comes from drivers, and that comes from a lack of perimeter defense. And Hand is going to put the ball on the floor and go to the basket tonight. So he's kind of the 2, kind of the 3. I watched a little bit of Boston College last night and this morning, and I'm not sure who's going to guard him. I'm not sure if that falls on Pablo Tamba. I think it does. Maybe Max McKinnon at the 2. Tama's a much better defender than McKinnon. McKinnon's a scorer. He's a great shooter. He's a good driver, an excellent free throw shooter. He's a good offensive player with a lot of dimensions to his game. He's not a great defensive player. His defense this year in the SEC concerns me a little bit. And so I think Tamba will take him. But ultimately, as I've watched this LSU team play, it's not really worth dissecting matchups. Like, remember when LSU had a defensive stopper in Marlon Taylor? You knew he was going to guard the other team's best player on those really good Wade teams. He was the guy. And you knew that going into the game. And there were times where he put really good SEC guards in a blender with his length, his athleticism. He's just a great defender. With this LSU team, like Wade's last team, LSU switches almost everything. So it's really not matchup dependent from who you're guarding at tip-off, because you get into a ball screen, you switch it, well, now the whole defense is thrown off. And LSU switches a lot. So really everyone's going to have to be guarding Donald Hand, and that's just a guy you can't get going. Outside of him, there's not a lot of offensive punch for this Boston College team. They've only got one other player in double figures. That's Fred Payne. He's been a decent three-point shooter, good free throw shooter, solid player. And Payne is listed at 6'1", 185. He's actually from Grambling, Louisiana, which I didn't realize until this morning. And that's a guy that obviously will see a lot of DJ Thomas. So I don't see a lot of issues here for LSU unless they shoot it really poorly, which is always possible, especially when you go on the road. Boston College is not very good. I expect LSU to win the game, but I'm curious to see how they guard off the balance from those guys in the perimeter. And I'm curious to see what the rotation is in the front court. I think you'll see a lot more Robert Miller than maybe we have, and maybe than we thought we would see against better opponents. The ACC punched the SEC in the mouth last night, went 6-3 in this challenge. If you'll remember, and you probably don't because basketball is just a lost thought on last year because LSU was so bad. The SEC went 14-2 last year in this event. 14-2. And you are seeing consistently now the SEC dropping these non-conference games. And while that's not great for your conference RPI and it's not great overall for the perception of the conference, it, to me, is probably better for LSU because I know that LSU is not an elite basketball team this year. They're not a top 15 team in the country. And so when you have a league that was as good as the SEC was last year, it just wasn't going to give LSU a chance to come up for air. They just weren't good enough. This team is better than that, I think significantly, and the league is backed up. And 3 of the losses last night were by 1 bucket. So it's not like the SEC is a disaster. But it's not as good as it was last year, and that bears itself out every week that we've seen. So tonight you're playing a bad ACC team. You should go up there and win on the road, and a road win does mean something. It helps your net, which LSU's net is good right now. It doesn't mean anything. It's 19th, but we're in the early December. But a road win is good. That's going to show up on your sheet of paper if you can get to the point where you would need a resume to get into a tournament. And I'll just say this, like on a day, as I mentioned, where it's signing day, and it's Blake Baker watch, and it's Kiffin watch, and it's Weiss watch, and it's all this stuff, Lamar Brown and Big Rich Anderson, and talking about Deuce Geralds and all these kind of things. Like, that's the news of the day, and we talked about it in the first hour. We're going to talk about it again. But they're 7-0. They're playing well. They got the ACC-SEC Challenge tonight at 6:15. I'm going to watch them. I'm excited to watch them tonight. I hope a lot of you will tune in as well, and hopefully this team can generate a little bit of support here. I realize, and I trust me, I know. Trust me, I know. They did this last year. They got off to a good start. They went and beat Kansas State. They beat Florida State. They beat Central Florida out in the Greenbrier. Like, they played well enough in the non-conference, and they face planted. And I told you at the end of December last year, I don't think they're good enough. I've watched a lot of SEC games, and I vividly recall, and I'll probably rehash this in early January, LSU's first SEC game, I don't even remember who they played. It was a night game, though. I don't even remember who it was. But the morning game that day was Kentucky and Florida. And they were flying around, dunking, throwing alley-oops, knocking down threes, contested shots, fast. And I was going, uh-oh. Because I had watched LSU, and I went, they can't run like that. And it showed. And I've watched a lot of SEC basketball the last 3 weeks, and I don't think LSU's in the top 6, 7, 8 teams in the league. Maybe they are. Like, it's hard to tell when you play this kind of competition. They play like that against DePaul, they are, but that's one game. The league doesn't look like that, and LSU looks better. And I hope tonight's another step towards, hey, we're here to play. We're relevant. That's the next step from irrelevant is relevant. And I'm hopeful that tonight's the next step in that as they go play Boston College. At least I'm hopeful. So LSU and BC tonight at 6:15. I've got a preview up at LouisianaSports.net. It goes a little bit more in depth than I have in the last 10 minutes, but it's there for free on LouisianaSports.net. So is the signing tracker. If you're looking to know what has happened today in the early signing period, we've got it all, including some announcements of guys that will not sign today. That's all there on the homepage of LouisianaSports.net. Let's come back and talk national college football storylines with J.D. Pickell. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
No shortage of headlines in the college football world, from Lane Kiffin to LSU, what Ole Miss does moving into the playoff, National Signing Day, what's going on at Penn State, what's going on at Kansas State. Lots to talk about. We'll do it all with our guy, JD Pickell, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports, always with us on Wednesdays. JD, how we doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Happy National Signing Day to you and yours. It's sweet to hear your voice here on the other side of the Kiffin saga with him now in Baton Rouge, man. Great to talk to you.
We're going to get to that. Let's talk about a couple other things that are smaller storylines. All right, first of all, what's going on at Penn State?
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping you would be able to tell me here.
No.
I mean, it's one of those things where I got asked about it on our show today, like, hey, how are you reading this, was the way it was phrased to me. And I was like, I can't read it. I don't even think it's in English. Like, the first part of this was, it's Matt Rule. Matt Rule. He gets extended. It's Signetti. He gets extended. And then it kind of became this abyss of, well, could they be in the mix for any of those other names that are, floating around? And it's Kalani Sitake, and then it's not him. And so now I'm like, the most frustrating thing from a Penn State fan is we were the first job to become available. I have to think you made that move to let James Franklin go so you could get active in hiring your next head coach. And now you're sitting there with the music winding down, and you don't have a chair. You just look silly. You look borderline foolish. And so if you're Penn State, it's like, what are we doing here, y'all? If it's me, and I'm just going to throw this one out there, go get Kenny Dillingham. Throw a bag at Kenny Dillingham. He activated the Valley. Let him activate Happy Valley. Brings juice, brings energy, brings excitement. I don't know where you go outside of that when it comes to people you can take a swing at, but it's a tricky time right now in State College, Pennsylvania.
Did you see what James Franklin had served up at Virginia Tech's signing day party?
Did not. What was it?
So you're aware of what happened with Kalani Sitake and staying at BYU, and the Crumble Cookies guy, who's a BYU alum. He stepped in and made a big public step in, and they got it worked out. And James Franklin served up some crumble cookies in Blacksburg today, which I found to be ironic and intentional.
Purely coincidental, right? No way, James Franklin. I mean, golly, it all ended very amicably there, from my understanding, right? Golly,
that's the thing.
How great is college football, Hunt? How great is that? Is awesome. I love that.
It's something that's not mean-spirited. It's just a little jab, and I like it. It's just a little jab there at the folks at Penn State. Do you think they would take him back if they could rewind time and give everybody the Men in Black thing? Knowing what they know now?
That's a really good question. I still think the answer is no, and it's funny because it's only specific to the James Franklin and Penn State relationship. Like, both in a vacuum, great head coach, great job, but for whatever reason, it just sort of soured. And not for whatever reason. We all know the reason why. It was because they hadn't been able to get over the hump. So I think Penn State, given the climate of where the fan base was and obviously where the administration was, I truly think it was best for both parties, which sounds wild to say out loud right now. But I think going back in time, I don't know that you still – so here's what I would say. I do think maybe you wait longer knowing what you know now. I do think you're a little less hasty to jump in the pool and firing James Franklin. But I do think eventually it would have happened, if not in the midway point of the season, it would have happened probably closer to November.
All right, let's talk about the College Football Playoff Selection Committee's decisions last night. I saw your video earlier that you just didn't agree with some of the things. What's your beef?
I got a lot of beef. I got a lot of it's like a butcher over here. I got a lot of beef for you, Hunt. So I'm all over the place. On one hand, I'm like, I think the committee, as much heat as they're taking, are doing a good job. I think their one massive flaw was they started the whole rankings out with Miami at 18. And I think that was sort of a, hey, I bet they lose again kind of move by them. Hey, we won't have to worry about the head-to-head. We'll put them somewhere around the top 20. It'll be fine. And then they kept winning. And now they're in a spot where it's 10-2 Miami, 10-2 Notre Dame. And they're like, shoot, well, can we make a move after conference title weekend? Hunter Yurachek seems pretty open to that idea at at last night's ranking reveal show talking to Reese Davis. So I think that was just a swing and a miss. That's tough. But when I zoom out even further, I'm like, can we really blame the committee when they're operating off of this ridiculous 5 highest ranked conference champions format. Like that to me is where the problem really lies. And I understand I'm kind of yelling at the cloud here, and I can't get anything different in this discussion because of the laws that are already in place in the college football playoff. But like I had ESPN show me a graphic last night of a side by side of JMU and 7-5 Duke for a playoff spot.
Yep.
What are we doing, Hunt? What are we? Is that really what we want this college football playoff to be about? Meanwhile, 10-2 Vandy, 11-1 BYU are on the outside looking in. That to me is just it's egregious, absolutely egregious.
No, there's no question. I mean, those two teams you mentioned, absolutely. Texas, I would throw into that mix as well. You can say, well, you can't lose to Florida. It's like, yeah, well, I mean, everybody's got some losses here. It's not perfect. We're not telling you they're second in the country, but I don't need to watch James Madison play football. I don't need to see that. James Madison will have almost no one drafted, and Texas will have 9 guys drafted, and they're better than James Madison. And if they played at James Madison, they would beat them. And so I realize that they're saying, well, we got to play it on the field, You got to earn something to be a conference champion, this whole deal. You don't. And I don't need to see BYU. I don't need to see Boise State getting a bye last year, and I don't need SMU. We're trying to make everybody on the same playing field, and we're not on the same playing field is the deal. And I realize that I went to LSU, and I'm an LSU guy, and I pull for LSU, and we're blue blood SEC Joe over here. But we made changes after last year looked stupid, and I'm curious if we make changes after this year looks stupid. Because last year we all looked at this and went, wait, Boise gets a bye? Why? And then we changed it. Is there reasonable to think there'll be changes this year?
I think there absolutely will be changes next year, especially if Alabama, hanging out at that 9 spot, misses the college. Again, I don't think this will happen, but I think if Alabama misses the college football playoff because they lost in the SEC championship game and the committee is trying to make concessions or whatever, like Greg Sankey, and to my understanding here, Hunt, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this is the last guaranteed year of the 12-team playoff, meaning we're going to contract year. We'll talk about it next year, how it looks. If the SEC runner-up misses the college football playoff, Greg Sankey is going to, with the force of 1,000 waterfalls, take his ball and go home and say, I'm doing a different playoff, Big Ten. Let's ride. They're watching us anyway. I don't care about it. Again, I wouldn't be here for that. I wouldn't support that. I wouldn't root for that. But I'm telling you, if that's Greg Sankey, I would be wildly surprised if those things happen and he doesn't have a pretty swift reaction to that in a new playoff format. I do want to touch on one thing you said, though, when it comes to the JMU discussion here.
Yeah.
It sounds – so people, whenever you say what you just said, people's emotional reaction is to be holier than thou and say, oh, you don't like the G5? Oh, people that cover college football hate half of college football. It's like nobody's saying that, dude. Nobody's out here out to get any of these other, nobody's against the G5. What people are against is common sense, and we're looking at JMU and we're looking at what some of the other schools are. It's like, listen, they're not better equipped or a better football team or have earned the right to be in a position where a 10-2 Vandy should be or where 11-1 BYU should be, or you just mentioned Texas. And the thing within that whole discussion is like, I would be here. I've said it many times on your show, Hunt. I would be here for supporting teams, not conferences. If JMU is unequivocally one of the top 12 teams in college football, put them in. I was carrying the flag for Cincinnati during the 14 playoff. Last year for Boise State, I was like, yeah, they're a top 10 team. Put them in. Do I give them a bye? Probably not, but put them in. Nobody here is anti any conference. It's just a matter of being anti common sense when it comes to how they put this whole thing together. So I had to get that take out there, but I'm right there with you. I don't think we need to have this whole holier than thou hipster discussion and be outthinking the room when we say JMU deserves a spot because they won their conference title or Tulane or Texas. Like just it's very much so virtue signaling, and I don't think anyone actually even feels that way.
James Madison stepped up in class one time and got beat by 2 scores at Louisville. Sorry, the rest of your games against Marshall and Old Dominion. That's just not real football. Most SEC teams would skirt through that schedule. It is what it is. So let's move to the story of the week here in Baton Rouge. The Lane Kiffin saga has been resolved ultimately in terms of his spot. We'll see how the staff shakeouts work out or how the transfer portal works out. But he's left. Your thoughts?
Just in general, or are we talking just any specific to just what happens next? Or
no, I think your thoughts on what that looks like from him leaving a team that is in the playoff to the meetings and the planes and everything that went on over the last 72 hours from Saturday through Monday.
I think one of the things within the story that's been interesting to track from a just Bob's perspective, everyone wants you to pick a side. Everyone wants you to say he shouldn't have done that. He should have stayed with Ole Miss, or you say Miss, it's LSU. And it's like, I think there's room for both sides to be right in the sense that if you're LSU, you fired Brian Kelly to go make a hire like this. Like, you're not apologizing for that. And if you're Ole Miss, like, I think you kind of knew that Lane Kiffin was always going to be a flight risk. You knew this was possibly in the cards. And so I don't think anyone is supportive of the idea that you need to leave a team during the college football playoff. And even Lane Kiffin, that sounds like that was his biggest gripe. It's like, I wanted to stay and coach. I wanted to be a part of it. And everyone with common sense is like, hey, you get why we can't let you stay. We appreciate what you've done here. But, like, no, we can't allow you to hang around our team while you're going to coach a team that we're going to play next year and portal all our guys away or have the opportunity to do that. So I think my main takeaway is just, like, it's tricky. There's not probably one right answer. I do think as this thing progresses, I hope that there's some fond memories that both Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin can cling to be a little bit kumbaya-ish here, because what they did this year too is absolutely incredible. Like the fact that they won 11 football games, they only lost it to Georgia in the way that it was. Like, this should be a year that if you're an Ole Miss fan, like, you celebrate and enjoy and look fondly on. But I understand why the whole Kiffin part of it gives you some different emotions. So I don't really get if I gave you anything definitive to go off their hunt. I think that the headline thought is this sucks, but it kind of is the product of where we are right now with the calendar set up the way that it is.
Yeah, look, nobody in Oxford is ever going to forgive Lane Kiffin for this, ever. That's just the way it goes with fandom, and you lose some reason. The only possible way that they could look at it and go, he probably was right, is if he goes and wins 3 championships here and the bottom falls out at Ole Miss and they're just awful. And then everyone in Oxford would have no other recourse but to go, yeah, he pretty much propped us up here and we couldn't do it. But outside of that, then there's just no way that anyone will ever feel anything other than betrayal and hatred for him as long as he's around. And that's fine. People in Baton Rouge hated Nick Saban for a long time too. Don't tend to hate him as much today as he is very public about his support for Lane Kiffin coaching in Baton Rouge. So what's your thought on what Lane Kiffin does at LSU?
I mean, well, so this is, to provide context, this is the same guy now that in the preseason made a Popeye's chicken sandwich. So, like, just I'm giving that disclaimer. I'm giving the hazard lights for everyone listening. I love it. I think it's awesome. I think the personality match is sensational. I think he's weird, and I think LSU has had weird head coaches be awesome before. Like, if you're in the small sect of the college football world that is saying Lane Kiffin to LSU isn't going to work, I would ask you why, and I think your answer would be, well, he's too difficult, he's too temperamental, he's too weird. And I'm like, well, is he eating grass, trying to figure out what to do on a 4th down call? Is he challenging his players shirtless to wrestle them? No. Okay, well then he's probably right in line with what has been weird enough at LSU and Ed Orgeron and Les Miles. So I think it's going to be awesome. I think that the fun thing to watch here is the LSU brand paired with the Lane Kiffin brand of playmakers that have been there over the course of recent history for recruits, from Jamar Chase and Jefferson and Burrow and Daniels, and then like the Lane Kiffin legitimate like data you have to look at to attract top talent. And then on the other side of the football, what LSU should always be defensively with, you know, the personnel you should have from the state of Louisiana. And if you can keep Blake Baker, like the football equation to me just makes too much sense. And then the attitude that Kiffin brings, you would hope could flip a switch for what that team's supposed to be in the future here. So to put it simply, I love it, but I thought LSU win the national championship. So here we go.
Let's get back to it, JD. We'll talk next week. We'll have a bracket to break down. Thanks, man.
Looking forward to it. Appreciate you. Have a great one.
JD Pickell, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports, with us every single Wednesday. We'll come back with more. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Renaissance Homes and Pools. Built by Renaissance.com. Built by Renaissance.com. What does your dream pool look like? Big resort style? They can do it at Renaissance Homes and Pools. Something smaller, more modest. Maybe a cocktail pool. Just allows you to hang out. Renaissance Homes and Pools can do it. You want special areas designed for small children because you're a new grandparent or a new parent? Renaissance Homes and Pools can do it. No matter what you dream up, they can help you with it. The technology and the software that they have at Renaissance Homes and Pools is so cool. It's to scale. You can customize every little thing. And that can include your outdoor kitchen in the renderings to see what it's all going to look like when it's finished. And the best part is you work with a local company and a local owner who's going to be with you every step of the way in Joey Blanchard. Give Joey a call, 225-252-7745. It's 225-252-7745. No matter what your dream is for a pool, Renaissance Homes and Pools can do it for you. It's not bad time when it's freezing cold to call him. It's a great time because you can get started on that pool to have it ready for when the weather warms back up in March or so. It's Renaissance Homes and Pools. Find them online. BuiltByRenaissance.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
All right, recap of the day so far for LSU. If you've been working or been doing something and have not been able to keep up with today's open of the early signing period, LSU entered the day with 15 verbal commitments. To this point, Jabari Mack, wide receiver from New Orleans, Bryson Martinez, tackle from Gonzales, Braden Allen, wide receiver from Lafayette, Dez Ellis, cornerback from Winsboro, Isaiah Washington, safety from Haynesville, Aiden Hall, car safety, J.C. Anderson, tight end from Decatur, Illinois, Ryan Moret, three-star offensive lineman from Miami. Those have signs. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 15 have signed. You also got a signature from Corey Barber from Pinson, Alabama, four-star wide receiver, was initially committed to Ole Miss, had decommitted. He's coming to LSU. And we believe, that's 10 that you've gotten, and we believe that Richard Anderson has sent his paperwork in. That's reported, and it's not like some backroom thing. They had a ceremony at Carr today. The media was all over it. There was a national letter of intent in front of Richard Anderson. He said he signed it, said he sent it in, did interviews. Everybody was there. Stands to reason he signed. LSU has not sent us that confirmation. That would be 10. You have not gotten signatures from 6 players committed to LSU to this point. It does not appear you will get that from Lamar Brown today. He did not sign at U-High. Seems like you may have to wait on that one. That's the biggest name on the board. That is an issue where you don't know who your defensive lines coach is going to be. You don't know who your defensive coordinator is going to be. Garland Gillen reported earlier today that Blake Baker is interviewing with Memphis as well as Tulane. So we feel like there's a chance that Blake Baker is a candidate at 2 different places in the G5. So Lamar Brown is in a holding pattern. We believe Lamar Brown wants to be at LSU. Lamar Brown tweeted that 2 days ago. Lamar Brown met with Lane Kiffin Sunday when Lane Kiffin got to LSU. Lamar Brown's representation has met with LSU, has met with Lane Kiffin, has met with with Blake Baker. I think the odds are very good that Lamar Brown ends up at LSU. He is not signed and is not supposed to sign today. Deuce Gerald's 4-star defensive lineman from Sewanee, Georgia. He's been an LSU commitment for a couple of months. The staff that was under Brian Kelly, under Blake Baker, Kyle Williams, really, really like Deuce Gerald's. They think he's going to be a great player. He is not going to sign today, expects to by Friday. Deuce Gerald's issued a statement. It's not some sort of thing in the dark. He said, look, I'm taking some time to get to know the new staff. As I mentioned in the first hour, Deuce Gerald's, his dad played at Ole Miss, is a legacy at Ole Miss, and Ole Miss recruited him. It stands to reason that he is aware of Lane Kiffin and has probably spoken to Lane Kiffin. I can't speak directly to that relationship, but it would make sense considering where his dad played. Deuce Gerald's is also taking some heat from Georgia Tech right there in his backyard because they're looking for defensive linemen in this class. So Gerald's is going to wait. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. Expects to sign by then. Has not yet. Haven Finney, the cornerback from L.A., he's tied to Corey Raymond. We don't have assurances Corey Raymond is going to be on the staff. I opened the show with this an hour and 35 minutes ago. If Lane Kiffin doesn't do everything he can to get Corey Raymond locked up in Baton Rouge, I think that is a significant misstep. He's got a lot of things to do, a lot of things to worry about, a lot of players to get signed, a lot of phone calls to make, but 20 minutes needs to be carved out. Hey, Corey, once you're here, here's what your contract says. This is what we'd like to do for you. Would you like to stay and be our defensive backs coach for the future? If I believe Corey Raymond would be agreeable to that, and you got to get that done. And then Haven Finney would sign at that point. But he's not going to sign today, and that is Corey Raymond related. Bryson Cooley is a 4-star offensive tackle from Laurel, Mississippi. Ole Miss is pushing for him. Alabama's pushing for him. Billy Embody of On3 says that Bryson Cooley not going to sign today. very well could sign in the next 2 days. Keep in mind, this signing period is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's done. Then you got to wait till the next one in February. So those are the four, Lamar Brown, Deuce Geralds, Haven Finney, and Bryson Cooley, who have said they're not signing today. Then you've got two more, Trenton Henderson, edge rusher, Pensacola, Florida. Very quiet recruitment. The thought is he's going to sign this afternoon. Hasn't happened to this point. I'm not sure what the other options are for him. I think Florida State was in there at one point. Trenton Henderson, no signature yet. Dylan Perger is a safety from Tuskegee, Alabama, 4 stars. He is not signed yet. There's potentially some options out there for him. So that right there is 6 players that are committed to LSU that have not signed. And there's one more storyline that a lot of folks are looking at on Twitter that have looked around, and it appears that LSU may very well get a flip from a quarterback in this class. Landon Duckworth is a 4-star quarterback from Jackson, Alabama. He has been committed to South Carolina for about 3 months. LSU recruited him very hard. So did Ole Miss. He ended up at South Carolina with his commitment. He's 6'3". He's the number 10 quarterback in the country by Rivals, number 151 prospect in America. He's a dual threat. He runs on the 4x100 for the track team at his high school that won state. He averaged 10 points a game as a junior on the basketball team that won state. He was the quarterback of the football team last year as a junior that won state. He is incredibly athletic, big, has a big arm, and he's committed to South Carolina. And the crystal balls and the recruiting prediction machines and a lot are cycling in for LSU to flip Landon Duckworth. Keep in mind, for LSU, you've got Garrett Nussmeier, who's done after the bowl game, maybe done right now. You've got Michael Van Buren, who just finished his sophomore season. You've got Colin Hurley, who's away for the team with personal reasons. You don't have another scholarship quarterback. So right now, it's Michael Van Buren and about nothing. Juwan Johnson is not a quarterback. So they're going to go to the portal and get a quarterback. But you'd really like to get a high school one in. You'd really like somebody on the younger side that Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. can develop. Not to be the starter against Clemson, but to get in and add some bodies. You don't have any bodies. And you'd like to, you hadn't signed a high school quarterback since you signed Colin Hurley 2 years ago. So Duckworth would be a very, very welcome addition to this class and to this program if they can get that done. That, to our knowledge, has not been made official yet. He has not announced that yet, but it's something that a lot of people think could very well happen over the course of the next 2 days. So that gets you caught up on where LSU is as far as National Signing Day goes here on this Wednesday. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com, built by Renaissance.com. We'll step aside, come back, close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Safety is a big deal in bathrooms, especially as folks age. If there's someone in your life who's aging, wants to stay home, but you feel like may need to mitigate some risk in the bathroom in those hazardous areas, One Bath and Closets can help you with that. Non-slip floors, showers with benches, walk-in tubs, guardrails in slippery areas. All this can be done to mitigate some risk in the bathroom for those that are aging. If you'd like to talk about that, you're not really sure where to start, but like to talk about that, David Duvall and his team are happy to sit down with you. It's a free consultation. That doesn't cost anything to sit down with David and his team. Then you see what they can do. If you decide what you want to move forward with, they do have financing options available, 0% up to 18 months if you qualify for that. Go see the pictures of their awesome work. It's all there at onebathandclosets.com. It's David Duvall and One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Built by Renaissance.com, Renaissance Homes and Pools. Not just pools. If you're looking for an outdoor kitchen, entertaining space that you've always wanted, Renaissance Homes and Pools can help you out with that. They do it all the time. Contact my guy, Joey Blanchard. You can find him at 225-252-7745 or online, builtbyrenaissance.com. LSU and Boston College tonight, 6:15 Central Time tip from Chestnut Hills and Chestnut Hills. Orchard Park, Bills. College Park, Maryland. Chestnut Hills, Boston College. Got it. Just took a second. That's where they'll play. BC's not good, but you can listen to that game on our sister station, Eagle 98.1 this evening. I'm excited to watch the guys play. It's an ACC game, ACC-SEC challenge. BC is one of the worst teams in the league. They may be the worst team in the ACC. LSU needs to go up there and take care of business. They're a 7.5-point road favorite as of this morning, so hopefully they can do that tonight. I'll be anxiously watching, and I'll react to it tomorrow on the show. We'll certainly have something up at LouisianaSports.net this evening as well. If you want to preview that game, you can find that over for free at LouisianaSports.net. Also a reminder, signing day still rolling. Announcements still coming in. If you're looking for live updates for free, LouisianaSports.net on the homepage. The first thing is a live signing day tracker. It's been up and updated all day long. You can go check it out there. Probably have it up the next 2 days as well because there are announcements to follow. So that's all there at LouisianaSports.net. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Only 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, all the flavor you're looking for. And it comes to you from the oldest brewery in America that just so happens to be family-owned and operated. No matter what the setting is, Christmas party's coming up, get some Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
Okay, so we're going to start this off with Chris Paul. So the Los Angeles Clippers, they surprised many when they announced overnight that they're parting ways with the veteran point guard Chris Paul. But there was reportedly deeper issues that led to the decision. CP3 requested a meeting with head coach Ty Lue, but he refused. And then Clippers president of basketball operations Lawrence Frank flew to Atlanta to tell Chris Paul he's off the team. Chris Paul being done dirty, take it or leave it.
I'm going to take it. Like, obviously, Chris Paul did something.
He did something.
There's no situation where he is a perfect teammate and the coach says, I'm not talking to you, and the GM or owner or whatever flies across the country to say, go away. Like, something's up. But I feel like we can be adults about this at some point. I'm not sure what's going on, but CP probably needs to just pack it in. It's probably done. I don't know what you're out there for at this point. You're not going to win a championship. Just pack it in.
Not with the Clippers. And it makes it worse because this was his farewell season. This was his farewell tour.
Farewell.
And they just get out of here. Okay, so Giannis Antetokounmpo has started conversations with the Bucks about his future. It was revealed today by Brian Windhorst that he asked for a trade over the offseason. But this is the kicker. There's a particular team in New Orleans that owns the Bucks 2027 pick unprotected. Is Giannis going to leave? Take it or leave it. Well, we need him to leave, but take it or leave it.
I will leave it.
Leave it alone.
I'm not going to tell you something good's going to happen to the Pels. When was the last time something good happened to the Pels? They won the lottery with Zion. That was the last time something good happened to the Pels.
Was that really a good thing? Looking at
No, it was bad thing. It was a bad thing. It looked good. It was bad.
It was not even a blessing. But hey, look, a lot of people talk about we don't have our pick unprotected. We own their pick, so if Giannis leaves town, all I'm saying is we're back in business. That's all I'm saying.
The 2027 pick, so the one after next season?
Yeah, not this year, so next year.
Okay, well, let's hope so.
Fingers
crossed.
Long way
away.
Fingers and toes are definitely crossed. So Ed Nakar.
Yeah, I saw this list.
Ed Nakar had 15 players signed today while currently sitting on a 25-game win streak. Is this the powerhouse of the state? Take it or leave it.
I mean, you have to take it. There's not even a debate. I mean, you've had the age of West Monroe, the age of Evangel, the age of John Curtis. Sometimes those all coincided. Rummel's had great teams. Neville's had great teams. You've had a lot of great programs. Catholic's had it on a great run. UHi's on a great run right now as well. But right now, Carr is the best program in the state. It's not even close. And to have 15 guys sign D1 scholarships is unbelievable. One of those, Richard Anderson, signed with LSU. One of those, Aiden Hall, signed with LSU as well. So pipeline from Carr to Baton Rouge is healthy, and that's a good thing for LSU.
It's insane. So Vanderbilt flipped the nation's top QB away from Georgia. Is this the anchor down era? Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. I wouldn't go that far. I'd like to talk to this kid. I'd like to talk to this kid and just see, like,
why.
I don't know what the NIL offers are, or the rev sharing offers are. I don't know that. And I know what Vanderbilt has academically. I also know
He's a
what
Pavi
that
fan.
I know what that stadium seats. I know what the visiting presence is there, and I know they went 10-2. They went 10-2. I know.
Vandy, we lit.
I'd probably go to Georgia if I'm being candid. Like I'd probably be Georgia's quarterback. But good for him. It's his life. Go live it. I'm not telling you what you have to do. Just telling you what I might do. So that's it for a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. We'll see what happens in the next couple of days with National Signing Day. Matt's going to be with you coming up to drive you home on AFR. I'm back tomorrow for a Thursday edition. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.